So how are we feeling today?
Excited.
Tense.
I'm feeling tense.
Yeah, this was a rough week.
Is it?
Yeah. Goalposts have moved at work, and so there's a lot of adjustment that needs to happen. Yeah, so just that. Also trying to get my mom sorted, following up on things. Just felt like I didn't have enough time. So I'm carrying a lot of tension on my shoulders and my neck. But yeah, I had a good night's rest last night, which contributed to, I actually just took a quarter of it, not a whole one. But it helped too, because I was getting 5 hours in the week, 5 hours, like maybe 6. And I think that poor sleep quality just caught up to me. And so, I just didn't feel great, like just windless and like also quite irritable and all of that. And as soon as I woke up this morning after like 8.5 hours of sleep, I was so happy. I was so happy to wake up. Even though, I was chatting to my folks and I just felt a bit more, I guess, balanced. And also knowing that I'm coming here, also looking forward to this. So yeah.
So last week, how did you find the balancing class last week was quite challenging, wasn't it?
It was. I did overexert myself.
Did you overexert yourself?
The dances
pose.
Oh, the dances pose is actually quite
So I had like pain this whole week and a headache, which I know it's a transference from the shoulder pain, but otherwise good.
So we're going to be practicing balancing poses. It's not like I told you, it's not one of my favorite poses, but when it is challenging, we have to do it a lot more so we can master it. So sometimes we just want to do the things that's easiest for us.
Yeah.
We don't want to challenge ourselves. I think that's just nature, our human nature, not to challenge ourselves. But challenging is actually. I'm going to pose you a question. I'm going to pose a question to you. Do you think that life is supposed to be all about the good moments, the happy moments?
No.
Because I think for most people, they strive just for that, just for joy.
Yeah, I've actually thought about
happiness.
A friend of mine last week, because she's having a rough time at the moment. And I'm thinking to myself, you have a husband, you have 2 kids, you don't want for anything in life, but she's having a tough time. And it's all about how easy things are, and then when the tough things come, when you don't really know how to cope with them because you've not actually experienced anything tough. You haven't weathered any kind of real storm. So yes, this situation that you have with your parents at the moment is tough. It was always going to be tough. It's not going to be any less tough. But just that she's in the state that she's in, I'm thinking we need to just put it into perspective and just first be grateful for everything that you have, and then start from there. And I've even encouraged her to come to this class, and she says to me, "Oh no, she doesn't. It's yoga's too slow for her." I said, "It's not about any of that stuff that you think that it's about. It's not about exercising. It's about connecting the body and the mind and building strength, giving yourself more flexibility as you get older." But she hasn't born. Like we'll sit next to each other and she'll have people over and I can see she's tense because I can see her jaws tense and I'll say to her, "You need to breathe. just relax." What's the worst thing that can happen?
Yes, that's very true. That's very true. I mean, we all. I think it's a normal human experience to go through sometimes periods of suffering and periods of joy, but sometimes what I've actually that was a very interesting concept for me. Sometimes too much pleasure and joy can also be bad.
Yeah.
Too much of it. Yeah. But also too much of pain and suffering can also be bad. Likewise, just that midpoint is actually where you want to be, and I think that's where true happiness lies. not in the happiness of, okay, I'm going on a holiday, or I'm going to acquire a car, I'm going to buy a massive house. Those are all material happiness. Or I've got the perfect partner. Those are all material happiness. I think happiness lies in between. You are going to have to accept that there will be suffering and some form of pain in life. And there's also going to be happy moments. But nothing is ever permanent, is it?
No.
Yeah. That's why you can be like, you can have toxic positivity where you're just like, no, everything will be right, everything looks
Great.
you know,
It's all great.
it's all great, it's all great. Like, you know, accepting that, yes, you can be positive and you can believe that things will work out for you good. But, you know, there are going to be low moments. Everything ebbs and flows. I think there's a lot of peace in the acceptance of that. You know, instead of like the pursuit of everything being perfect all of the time. Yeah, on your friend's thing, it brings to mind a quote that I actually saw on the back of a sugar packet. And it said, gratitude is a fabulous life sweetener. And it truly is. You know, when you take a moment and you actually realize, oh, I'm living in the times I prayed for, or I have the things that I've always wanted, but I'm not slowing down enough to actually appreciate it.
That's very true. So the one thing that I'm struggling with right now, so spending a lot of time, and I'm actually, this whole Buddhism journey it's not what I thought it was. You and I have had this conversation. I thought it was, I mean, we were brought up, oh no, they're worshipping idols and they're doing this and they're doing that. But once you actually go into it and to really understand what it is, it's a philosophy. It's actually more philosophical than anything else, and it's a way of life. And there's also different schools and different thoughts. And so the one thing that I was really struggling with once was whether to continue to eat meat or not. And that's one of the challenging parts. And I was mulling it over and mulling it over and mulling it over, because one of the precepts is non-violence. And that means in all aspects. So if you are eating meat, it's supposed to be that maybe in some schools of thought is considered a violent act, because you're destroying another sentient being for your own benefit. But the thing about it is you can go deep, and then you can still not get an answer. So there's this one thing I'm going to post later. So my marketing person, my marketing person is very specific and critical, but I'm trying to explain what I'm trying to get across. And that's all about, we did balancing last. We spent a lot of time balancing, and that was more or less to be symbolic of trying to find balance in life. There's going to be frustrating moments. I'm going to be frustrated with you. You and I have had many frustrating moments, haven't we?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, there's a lot of passion in our relationship. But we're still talking here today. Yeah. We're going through those moments. And those moments are, like I told someone, I was sitting in a session in the week where I was supposed to be like a mediator, where there was conflict. But what I did say was that conflict has actually created an opportunity to better understand people as well, and to find that point where you can actually live with each other and, you know what, work with each other and try to achieve something a bit more meaningful together. So in balancing, when you're doing balancing, that's more symbolic. The pose is obviously symbolic to try to find that balance in your life. And there's this concept that I'm going to post later today when a marketing person
gives his approval.
Yeah, anyway, we had a long debate. I'm trying to explain to you, but obviously he doesn't understand it. So there's this concept called the middle way. And I love it. The middle way. Because for me, the middle way is there's guidelines, and you can take whatever resonates with you, just as long as you remain pure to the essence of it. So can I eat meat, or is it now forbidden for me to eat meat because of the path that I'm on? And I'm at the point where I'm actually, you know what? Under certain conditions, eating meat is acceptable. Under other conditions, no. So, like for example, if I had to go and hunt, no. That's something that because now you're actually participating in the killing of an animal beyond consumption. If I go and buy it at a store, and look, it's going to be debatable for many people. People will have all sorts of opinions about this, but
believe exactly the opposite.
The opposite, yeah. So everybody's entitled to their view, but this is my view, and this is what I will be comfortable with, just as long as you are comfortable with this in your life, and that you believe this is the best that you can possibly do ethically in terms of living your life. So the middle way is essentially trying to find that spot between the two extremes. Not too much pleasure in life, but not too much suffering in life. And because some people can dwell on that part of suffering, and they just dwell, they live there. But then there's also people that will try to that just wants excessive pleasure. And when you know the thing about pleasure, once you've reached there's a pleasure plateau, and once you've reached that point of the plateau, you're seeking more and more and more. And I'm not going to go. I'm not going. Oh, I was going to go there. And in our community, that there's a. I'm not going to go into that part, but now you start. Yeah, then it becomes hedonistic, where you actually now you need some sort of stimulants to try to enhance and to get that same effect, and that's where some form of drugs is actually not beneficial. And we use the word drugs to only think about, like, for example, in the very mild end, marijuana, in the more extreme end, heroin and other hard narcotics. But there are also other drugs as well, other synthetic drugs as well. So to just find that middle spot, that gives you a bit of comfort, because there's nothing wrong with just having that peace, and nothing's ever going to be perfect. Before you arrive, I told Michelle, we're talking about our day yesterday, and then I mentioned to her I was in so much pain yesterday. I really was in a lot of pain, and because my partner at home knows about it, actually looked at me and says, "Are you in pain?" Without me even saying it, knows the behavior, knows when I am in pain. So I will go to bed. I will then go and do things that will help me to relieve the pain. And then I woke up this morning and I feel fine. So there are good days, and there are bad days. But we mustn't wallow, in my opinion, in, oh, but things are terrible. You mentioned your friend. So that's not having a great time. So we will spend all that time wallowing in that misery, when we're actually losing that. We're actually blocking up any opportunity to actually find opportunities to balance that pain out with something a bit more joyous. Yeah. So, and look at today, for example, we had a storm. It was horrible. There was people that were impacted. I can't even imagine what they must be going through today because the result of the storm. And then we have a clear sky today. The storm has passed. And that's essentially maybe just a metaphor in life, that nothing should really last forever. And we can find that middle path, that balance amongst all of that. I think most of us can live a bit more of a pleasant life.
Yeah, I think empathy's got a great deal to do with it as well. Because if you can recognize other people's suffering, and you can say, oh, they don't deserve that, or they deserve a bit of happiness, they deserve balance. Then you can also then be gentler with yourself, instead of, being very hard on yourself for something bad that's happening, instead of trying to process it and giving yourself the space, to do so, and saying like, okay, maybe it's bad now. It's bad now. It's a bad day, but it's not a bad week. Or it's a bad week, but it's not a bad month. And I, curiously, while I was scrolling yesterday, I came across a video of a woman, and I mean the tagline was, "Make my $1,000 dinner versus my family's $20 dinner." I was like, okay, what? So she is preparing this like sack of food, that, and she explains that she has gastroparesis, which is like her stomach doesn't work, and so she has to feed herself with a feeding thing. She's got a line straight into her heart, and she has to mix up vitamins and all of that stuff and inject it into the food, and then she has to like hold this and let this food go into her system every day.
Yes.
That's how it is.
Yes.
And I was watching on scroll to another video, and then she was like preparing for her daughter's 5th birthday party. And she was like, come with me. And she went and she got all these things together, and she made this beautiful birthday celebration for her daughter. And then the next day was a vlog from bed. And she had like welts on her skin, and she wasn't feeling great, and her voice was groggy. And she said, this is a bad day. I overexerted myself yesterday. I went too far. But she's like, you know what? It's okay, because I can rest today. I have all my things that I need for my condition. I'm still good. And I just thought like, wow, even in a circumstance like that, you can hold on to joy and joyful moments, and then say, when there is a bad day, just remember the joy. There are better days always coming.
So I'm going to make a bit of a controversial statement, and I think some people may not like it, but I don't believe that anybody's situation is any worse than other people's situation. We all have bad situations. It's just different.
Yeah.
A bad situation is a bad situation. I mean, I can wallow in my pain and my suffering. I can say, oh, woe is me. You don't understand what I'm going through. And that is true. People, I don't appreciate what I cannot understand, and I cannot walk in your shoes. And that's where empathy comes in. The best that we can do is empathize with people and what they're going through. Because maybe we have the strength to overcome our suffering, so now we can help others to try to work through and overcome their suffering. But it's not also only if they are open to that suffering.
Yeah.
Because everybody has the capacity to change their circumstances. It's all about the decisions that they make and the choices that they make and how they want to live their life. And no one's to blame, but I mean, if I continuously suffer in my life, sometimes it is external factors, but also sometimes the decisions and choices that I make and how I respond to that as well. So that's just my opinion on that. So today we're going to, like I said, we're going to do just a short flow, and I wanted to do practicing some inversions. I'm looking at this because I'm thinking, should I show you some extreme inversions? But I don't know. That's entirely up to you whether you would want to see extreme inversions. But let's take it slow. Yeah.
You can always build into.
So what I'm going to do is we're going to do maybe a gentle flow,